Coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio, this is Talking Politics, and I am the generational talent in Garden State media, along with being the weapon of mass disruption, because my level of honesty, ladies and gentlemen, now more than ever, is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception. That's right, it's me, Fernando Uribe. Hope you're all doing well, and I gotta tell you, even though I lost an hour of sleep over the weekend, folks, when we go through daylight savings time, it's just a reminder that spring is right around the corner. And you know what? That's something we can all celebrate here on this program. As always, there's a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, I've talked about this assembly candidate at length, but it bears repeating. I have my reservations about Katie Brennan running in the 32nd Legislative District. Now, of course, she's running as an independent, and more on who she joined forces with later on in the program. But for right now, something that really just sort of got my blood boiling over the weekend was her going after Union City Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack because of a recent mailer that he disseminated. So, special thank you to James Los Santos, the editor at the HUD Post, for his reporting on this story. Now, Assembly candidate Katie Brennan is criticizing Union City Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack for urging Republican voters to temporarily switch party affiliations to vote in the upcoming Democrat primary on June 10th. Brennan, who recently announced her candidacy alongside Hoboken Mayor and the resident virtue signaler, Ravi Bala, called Stack's move a direct challenge to Democratic voter rights. Interesting. I wonder if she had the same level of outrage when Kamala Harris sort of bypassed the primary process and was just anointed the nominee for the Democrat Party in 2024. Kind of interesting, when Katie Brennan wants to have fake outrage from time to time. But anyway, now she said, quote, "What message does this send to Democrat voters?" Brennan wrote in a tweet, "Now Democrats in Hudson County have no say in who the party runs for office, even elected members of the Democrat County Committee. Democrat voters should choose Democrat nominees. Republican voters should choose Republican nominees. It's really that simple." And of course, she was responding to a Hudson County Democrat committeeman by the name of Eric Allen Connor. But regardless, Stack's letter, which was mailed to voters last week, framed the party switching request as a way to combat the Hudson County political machine. He argued that political bosses were working to defeat his endorsed candidates, the incumbent assemblyman in the 33rd Legislative District, Gabriel Rodriguez, and the new challenger, Larry Weinstein, and ultimately remove him as mayor and state senator. Quote, "If possible, I ask you to temporarily switch your party affiliation from Republican to Democrat so you can vote for my assembly candidates," Stack wrote, adding that he would assist voters in switching back after the election. Now, as I mentioned, Eric Allen Connor, a Jersey City committeeman with the Democrat Party, with the Hudson County Democrat Organization, also denounced the request. Quote, "Not only do committee members get no say on who the party endorses, you're out there trying to solicit Republicans to vote in the Democrat primary. You're sending this out in LD 31 and LD 32 too," with a question mark, obviously. New Jersey law allows voters to change their party affiliation before a primary. Now, the deadline to switch party affiliation for the upcoming June 10th primary is April 10th, so precisely 60 days before. Well, folks, before I give you my 2 cents on this, let me just give you all a brief history lesson about what's been going on in Hudson County politics and what really has led to this ongoing civil war among Hudson County Democrats. Let's take you back to roughly January of 2023. Now, if you all remember, that was after the redistricting that took place in Trenton. The 33rd Legislative District changed subsequently. Now, between the years of 2010 to 2020, the 33rd Legislative District consisted of the cities of Union City, the towns of West New York, Weehawken, Hoboken, the city of Hoboken, and of course, parts of the Jersey City Heights and downtown Jersey City. The 32nd Legislative District consisted of the towns of West New York, Guttenberg, North Bergen, Secaucus, Harrison, and Kearney, along with East Newark. Now, subsequently, after redistricting, the 32nd Legislative District changed, and so did the 33rd. What we call the 32nd Legislative District today consists of the city of Hoboken and solely the Jersey City Heights and downtown Jersey City. The 33rd Legislative District now consists of the city of Union City, Weehawken, West New York, Guttenberg, North Bergen, and Secaucus. Harrison and Kearney, respectively, have moved into the 31st Legislative District. Now, of course, with the districts being consolidated to some extent, that put state Senate seats in a precarious position. because between the years of 2010 to 2020, the state senator for the 32nd Legislative District, which consisted of the township of North Bergen, was occupied by their mayor, Nicholas Sacco. And in the 33rd Legislative District, well, the Union City mayor and the current incumbent was also the 33rd state senator, and that was Brian Stack. But subsequently, on a weekday evening at Waterside along the waterfront, which is a great venue, by the way, folks, I'll tell you more about it, as it's the venue for Memories Matter 2025, which I'll discuss later on, there was a sit-down dinner between mayors Nick Sacco, Brian Stack, Richard Turner, along with County Commissioner Anthony Veneri, along with, well, Weehawken Township Manager Gio Ahmad. And during that sit-down, Brian Stack and Nick Sacco came to an agreement. Yes, both state senators are now in the 33rd Legislative District because of North Bergen being moved into that district itself. Now, Nick Sacco conceded the Senate seat and told Brian, I'm not going to run against you in a primary. I'll concede the Senate seat. And Stack was happy to oblige. Now, of course, with any negotiation came some compromise. Now, what Nick Sacco wanted was, A, to have his say in who the next county chair was going to be for the Democrat Party in Hudson County. As we all know, leading up to that point, it was Amy DeGees. And as a result of what happened the summer before, well, Amy DeGees obviously was public enemy number one in the eyes of many residents, not just Democrats, but independents and also Republicans. So it was easy to throw her under the bus because of what had happened on that fateful summer afternoon in 2022. Needless to say, Nick Sacco also wanted his input in one of the new assembly seats. Of course, Brian and Mayor Albio Sears said, hey, we would like one of ours to be in the seat that would represent the township of West New York. And coincidentally, it would be former mayor Gabriel Rodriguez. And of course, Nick Sacco selected one of his township commissioners, Julio Marenco. So moving forward, the 33rd Legislative District would be represented by Brian Stack as a state senator, and in the assembly by Gabriel Rodriguez and Julio Marenco. And subsequently, Anthony Veneri would become the new county chair. Well, somewhere along the line, folks, that all went to hell. It was a typical infighting and really the undermining by Nick Sacco, which we've all learned has become quite evident. Okay? Subsequently, since then, this ongoing feud between Nick Sacco and Brian Stack goes back not just the last few years, but really, folks, almost the last 20 years. And subsequently, what we've seen, and of course, no coincidence, that we've seen resident agitator and wannabe journalist Leonard Filipowski, I won't refer to him by his stage name, folks, it's not even worth mentioning, or the wannabe news site that he runs. But the point is that sometime in late 2023, Leonard Filipowski started becoming sort of a permanent presence in North Hudson, harassing Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack, along with former Governor Jim McGreevey, and other elected officials. Now, again, who's compensating Leonard Filipowski and who's responsible for his presence in Hudson County? Well, that continues to be a topic of considerable speculation. But regardless of that, Nick Sacco and his people within North Bergen, which include Joe Muniz and Anthony Veneri, have gone to great lengths to undermine Brian Stack, which is what's caused part of this civil war. But even before that, let's fast forward to 2024, during a reorg meeting, well, there's a new county Democrat chair, and that's current county executive Craig Guy. And of course, as we all know, during the summer of 2022, then County Chairman Anthony Veneri endorsed Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop in the upcoming gubernatorial primary. I know, folks, it's a lot to digest and take in, but bear with me. This chronology is important to understand. Subsequently, once Craig Guy took over as county chair, that endorsement was rescinded. Subsequently, it went to U.S. Representative out of Bergen County, Josh Gottheimer. Now, there was a falling out, for whatever reason, between Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack, County Chair Craig Guy, and U.S. Representative Josh Gottheimer. Since then, that endorsement has also been rescinded. Now, recently, Craig Guy and Brian Stack, along with other prominent Democrats, have decided to endorse U.S. Representative Mikey Sherrill, who's out of Essex County, in the upcoming gubernatorial primary. Needless to say, folks, this ongoing civil war has been interesting. Let's get back to the flyer and the mailer that Katie Brennan and other Democrats seem to be in arms about. Folks, this isn't checkers, it's chess. And that's what Brian Stack plays each and every day. He plays chess. And let's be fair, the Democrats and people in the North Bergen echo chamber are just mad they didn't think of it first. That's the truth. Now, is there a way to ensure that we get rid of parts of the Sacco regime? Absolutely. If Larry Weinstein and Gabe Rodriguez win the primary, well, that's a definite, not a lethal blow, but it's a bad knock for Nick Sacco, as he's endorsing Tony Hector and Frank Alonso in the upcoming primary. But also, folks, it's not just about assembly seats, but it's also about the upcoming primary for Hudson County Sheriff. Now, Fred Scolari has been a fixture within North Hudson, specifically within the office of Nicholas Sacco. Now, challenging him in the upcoming primary is Bayonne Mayor Jimmy Davis, a former retired law enforcement officer. And that kind of makes you wonder, why all the hoopla about this? Well, folks, let's be fair. Yes, primary turnout isn't always very great, and we've learned that in recent New Jersey electoral history, which is why Brian and Craig are being very smart about this. Now, I get it. Listen, I'm a conservative and I'm a registered Republican. Is that going to convince me to change my affiliation to help ensure that Brian's assembly candidates and the candidate for sheriff get across the finish line? Sure, I'm happy to do that. Now, but they're also being realistic. There's more than 2,500 registered Republicans in Hudson County, more specifically within the North Hudson area. I can't speak for Bayonne and Jersey City, but I know that between West New York, Weehawken, North Bergen, Guttenberg, Secaucus, and Union City, there's a healthy amount of Republicans there. Not an overwhelming amount, but as you saw from the election results last November, President Donald Trump did pretty well than he did in 2020. Actually won the city of Secaucus and won the city of Bayonne, and made some inroads within the margins in the towns of West New York, Union City, Guttenberg, and North Bergen. Well, that's what Brian's counting on. He's counting on voters that are engaged this year to switch over to help his candidates get across the finish line. Because if there's any way to finally put a nail in the coffin to a portion of the Sacco regime, it's defeating their candidates. Well, folks, hey, again, it's chess, it's not checkers. And that's what Brian's playing. And shame on Katie Brennan for sort of calling it out, because at the end of the day, let's be fair about it, folks, it's about winning elections. No, it's not illegal what he's asking people to do, because again, you can easily switch back on June 11th for the upcoming general election in November. Now, there'll be a hotly contested gubernatorial race in New Jersey, no doubt, and we'll see if that energy remains for Republicans in 2025 as it did in 2024. As we all know, Democrats, many Democrats, establishment ones, seem to keep peddling the same old identitarian politics playbook and all the woke bullshit, right? Like, it seems like in New Jersey, for example, it seems like some Democrats are more concerned with, woke bullshit like pronouns and identity and gender and trans people. No, folks, what we care about, regular everyday people, what we care about is property taxes and public safety, making sure that New Jersey residents aren't being priced out of here. As we just learned via NJ.com, that our property taxes went up again as we continue to be the highest in the nation. So while, yes, we want to, there are some Democrats and some progressives and some on the left that want to coddle trans people, I don't care for that. I care about the multiple properties that I own not having to pay as much property taxes on them. And the fact that when I travel up and down the state, that perhaps maybe the gas tax can be rescinded. Or perhaps there could be a freeze on the ongoing toll hikes when it comes to the Parkway and the Turnpike collectively. But again, at a local level, Katie Brennan lives to virtue signal, and we saw that a few weeks ago on the steps of City Hall in Jersey City, when she, along with the other virtue signaler Ravi Bala, and they're perfect for each other, which is why they're running together, right? To oppose a new ICE prison, to somehow think that, that enforcing federal immigration law, which again, folks, that's within the Constitution, that's within the providence of the federal government, enforcing our borders, preserving our sovereignty. And it's funny, for someone like Ravi Bala, who clearly must have slept through constitutional law when he went to law school, well, some of us didn't, like I. We got an A in con law, because I remember that's an integral part of the federal government. Someone should tell Katie and Ravi that. But as far as Katie Brennan bitching and moaning about something like this, folks, let's be very clear about some of what we've heard about this election cycle when it comes to Katie Brennan. Katie Brennan had a chance to run on Stephen Phillips' assembly ticket along with Jessica Ramirez. But does it really shock you that two really hot-looking women can't get along and get a little catty with each other? That's what the whispers on the street told me, and that's not speculation, folks. I heard it from very, very good sources. So the fact that two good-looking girls can't play well and play along, well, I mean, hey, shame on Katie. She'd be in a much better position to try to win this primary by being with Jessica Ramirez. But instead, the consolation prize is running with Ravi Bala. Well, good luck with that, Katie, because you need every vote you can get. And especially in this primary, guess what? When it comes to getting votes, you got to be smart about it. And guess what? Brian Steck is, and you aren't. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now some local stories for your consideration. And thank you to John R. Highness, the editor of the Hudson County View, along with being a fellow Rutgers alumnus and a member of the Pinnacle, for his reporting on this story. And speaking of Katie Brennan, yes, she's decided to join alongside Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala in the upcoming primary race in the 32nd Legislative District. She put out a statement, quote, "When Ravi and I testified against the ballot redesign bill, we made clear that bracketing put candidates running on their own at a disadvantage. While we continue to fight for truly fair ballots, we're running on the same slate because the residents of Jersey City and Hoboken deserve legislators who will fight for them and aren't beholden to any political machine. This puts us in the best position to win while maintaining our independence." Yes, joining forces with someone like Ravi Bala, who A, decided to name and declare Hoboken via executive order a sanctuary city upon taking office, when Hoboken's going to absolute shit with rats running around, not just the rats working at City Hall in his office, but like actual real rodents and pests that present serious sanitary hazards to our seniors and our kids in Hoboken. Or the fact that every June, with the money you're wasting on repainting the crosswalks, right, for Pride Month, with all these ridiculous colors, you can maybe afford to hire more police officers. So maybe people aren't getting assaulted in broad daylight at Church Square Park. Or maybe worrying about property taxes, and again, public safety instead of pronouns. That's the type of candidate that Ravi Bala is. And that's what Hoboken's turned into. The woke, epicenter in Hudson County. So while regular everyday people are struggling to find parking, dealing with the ridiculous amount of bike riders and e-bikes that are just running rampant in that city, as well as other things going wrong in Hoboken, we can always rely on the woke fools in Hoboken to make sure that priorities are in check. Or to make sure that during Pride Month that, using taxpayer dollars, that we make sure that we have drag queen story time for our kids at the Hoboken Public Library. Folks, what an effing joke. In a time when, again, it seems like many Democrats haven't learned their lesson from November. It's about our pocketbooks. It's about issues that matter when it comes to economics, when it comes to public safety, especially here in New Jersey. Want to know why there's an uptick in more and more New Jersey residents filing applications for a gun permit? It's because we have a shitty attorney general that would rather side with criminals than actually allow residents to protect themselves. Or the ridiculous cash bail and bail reform laws that somehow progressives think are doing justice to under-marginalized communities. It's bullshit, folks. It just is. But this is who Ravi Bala has turned out to be. A woke crusader who will happily go on MSNBC and virtue signal there for all 11 of the viewers that watch that trash network. So you know what? It doesn't surprise me that someone like Katie Brennan is joining alongside Ravi Bala, because she's just as insufferable a virtue signaler as Ravi Bala is. Now, of course, listen, last I heard, she hasn't raised a nickel in her elect from what I've been told. So, of course, she'll have to rely on all the donations that Ravi Bala will be soliciting during this campaign season. Yes, folks, we're 3 months away from this hotly contested primary in Hudson County. And believe me, when I see Democrats in a civil war like this, especially in the 32nd Legislative District, it's like, oh, who can out-progressive the next progressive? Yes, folks, when you have social justice clowns and woke fools running for office, you better be concerned. When I think of those, I think of Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala. Staying in the 32nd Legislative District, and once again, a special thank you to John R. Highness from the Hudson County View for his reporting on this story. What a surprise. The charisma vacuum, Jim Doyle, the Hoboken Council president, and the guy with arguably the biggest nostrils and nose that I know of in recorded human history, Phil Cohen, are endorsing Mayor Ravi Bala and Jersey City activist Katie Brennan in the upcoming primary in the 32nd Legislative District. Now, in a joint statement together, quote, Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan will do the people's work in Trenton. What exactly is the people's work to Jim and Phil? Virtue signaling, coddling illegals, making sure that, hey, you know what, we acquiesce to illegals at all turns, right? To make sure that in the city of Hoboken, for example, that, hey, we don't allow law enforcement to work with ICE to ensure that if there are any criminal illegals, especially dangerous ones, that we remove them from Hoboken. Or that in a city like Hoboken with rising property taxes, perhaps we should worry more about pronouns and gender identity and identitarian politics and all that woke bullshit that no one cares about. At least anyone with at least some sort of functional cognitive behavior. But don't tell that to Jim Doyle and Phil Cohen, folks. The brothers together of Charisma Vacuum City would tell you otherwise. Katie Brennan brings the housing expertise, new energy, and independence we need in the state assembly. Together, Ravi and Katie will work for more affordable housing. Oh, like the way Ravi's worked for it in Hoboken? Yeah, got it. To accelerate our transition towards clean, non-carbon producing energy and to stand up to Donald Trump. What exactly, how are members of the General Assembly in New Jersey going to stand up to Donald Trump? Folks, I've said this to Democrats, many prominent Democrats off the record, and I'm not going to mention their names, but they've all had a consensus when I bring this up. What exactly does Donald Trump have to do with Trenton? What exactly does Donald Trump have to do with the highest property taxes in the country that have been passed and ratified by the state legislature? Oh, and by the way, Democrats have had majorities in the state legislature for over 20 years. Yes, Republican governors have come and gone, and we've had Democrat governors as well. But we continue to get a rise in property taxes. I know I own multiple properties, and I've seen my tax bill. Oh, for example, the gas tax that has gone up in previous years. Now, mind you, that started under the administration of Chris Christie and something that I'll never forgive him for. But we continue to see the gas tax increase. So right now, as the cost of gas has gone down because thank the Lord, we're drilling domestically, right? And we're opening up pipelines once again. Yes, folks, we're still at about $2.89 a gallon. But because of the gas tax, right, in its final phase, we're paying 57 cents more per gallon because of the gas tax. So instead of paying early twos or maybe dropping right around $2, we have to deal with this. Or tolls on the Parkway and the Turnpike. Because supposedly all that revenue was going to go to the Transportation Trust Fund to improve our roads. Folks, have you been on the Turnpike and the Parkway? The roads are so shitty. So what exactly is the Transportation Trust Fund doing? What exactly are we trusting with transportation? But that's why the state continues to erode. That's why New Jerseyans and New Yorkers across the river are moving out of these areas, out of blue states, and going to red states where they're better governed and there's a better fiscal management. I don't know, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Tennessee. But again, it's all about opposing Donald Trump because it's all fight, 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 and resist, resist, resist. Because somehow the President of the United States residing at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has something to do with the ongoing spending that goes on in Trenton. With the fact that we coddle illegals by taking taxpayer dollars within the budget and setting up a legal fund to help illegals fight deportation. Or that somehow giving driver's licenses to illegals, which again is going to erode our streets and roads with, in many cases, piss poor drivers. Somehow that's Donald Trump's fault. Somehow that's Republicans' fault. No, ladies and gentlemen. This is the nonsense that Jim Doyle, Phil Cohen, okay, and by the way, if you ever are next to Phil Cohen in a very, very tight room, be careful and conserve your oxygen because let's be honest, he steals a lot of oxygen with the size of that nose and those nostrils collectively. But to be serious for a minute, folks, these aren't serious people. And we have serious problems right now in Trenton. And we need serious people to solve them. Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan, these aren't serious people. And speaking of that, Jim Doyle and Phil Cohen, they're not serious people either. But what else is new with Democrats in the Mile Square City? Let's move on to Jersey City, and a special thank you to Aaron Morrill, the editor of the Jersey Times, for his reporting on this story. Former Governor Jim McGreevey, who's also running for mayor in 2025 in Jersey City, was named the 2025 recipient of the Senator Frank Lautenberg Award by the Rutgers School of Public Health. Now, the award was established in 2001, and it recognizes individuals who have contributed to public health through advocacy, program development, and capacity building that have led to expanded research, education, and service opportunities. Perry Ann Hakitis, the dean of the Rutgers School of Public Health, said this week, quote, Governor McGreevey and the work he has undertaken over the past several decades embody the values we espouse at the Rutgers School of Public Health. Now, Hakitis cited McGreevey's public service and work in both government and nonprofit sectors with a focus on social justice and health equity as reasons for this selection. As the executive director of the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, McGreevey has led programs that have provided healthcare access, job training, and housing for individuals reentering society after incarceration, dealing with addiction treatment, or military service. McGreevey, who's also currently running for mayor, has highlighted these issues as part of his campaign. Well, once again, a special congratulations to former Governor Jim McGreevey, and once again, a nice job by my alma mater, Rutgers University and the School of Public Health, for bestowing Jim McGreevey this very prestigious award. There's no question, ladies and gentlemen, Jim McGreevey has been one of the better comeback stories in New Jersey political history. He's hoping to continue that into 2025, and we'll see if awards like this continue to keep him on the political radar. Time will tell, but once again, congratulations to Jim McGreevey, courtesy of the Rutgers University School of Public Health. Lastly, folks, we're a little over a month away, but mark it on your calendars for Thursday night, April the 17th, at the world-famous Waterside along the waterfront in North Bergen, New Jersey, as I will be bringing you the 2025 edition of Memories Matter to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. Joining me will be my amazing co-hosts, Carmen Kenny, Lucy Costa, Jacqueline Rodriguez, and Vladimir Carrero. We're asking for a modest donation of $20 upon arriving. We'll also have plenty of raffles available, as well as drink specials that evening. It's from 7 p.m. until closing time, folks, and it is Easter weekend, so guess what? Many of you will be off on Good Friday. Come out and join us on Holy Thursday for Memories Matter 2025, coming to you from Waterside in North Bergen. Folks, all proceeds benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. And listen, let's all do our part to raise awareness about Alzheimer's and dementia as it continues to affect families not only in Hudson County, but throughout the state of New Jersey. You know what? Make it a point to come out that evening, bring some friends, and together we'll defeat Alzheimer's once and for all. And that's our show for this week. Once again, I want to thank the Hudson Media Group, its CEO and executive producer, Patrick O'Malley, for his belief in my brand of media. And certainly as I'm approaching 6 years here with Hudson Media Group, I couldn't be more grateful. So thank you to him and all the wonderful staff that I have the privilege of working with each and every week. Yeah, it looks easy to put on this program, folks, but it really isn't. And I work with a very talented staff here that get this program up and running every single week. So special thanks to them. And of course, to check out all the programming brought to you by the Hudson Media Group, which includes Hudson County View Live with John R. Highness every week, along with Stick at Night, hosted by County Commissioner Anthony Romano, and all the great young men and women from North Bergen High School. Guess what? We're all bringing you exceptional programming every single week here on the Hudson Media Group. Check them out on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share all the great content. Make sure you like them on Facebook. Of course, follow them on Instagram and X, as well as my own social media handles. Always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am the generational talent in Garden State media, and certainly, folks, I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption here because you rely on me every single week. I'm Fernando Uribe, folks. Please party responsibly and stay classy, everyone.